Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thank you for coming back. And this is Charlie Mike, the podcast. I'm Raul. I have a special guest with me today. It's Glen. He's an ambassador with Carry the Load. Glen, tell us a little bit about yourself.
How you doing, Rob? Hey, thanks for having us on. I appreciate this a lot for a chance to talk about carry load. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. Former Army. I was an officer in the combat heavy unit in the United States Army. I got out, started working for a company called Raytheon, and actually got called back into service
What?
out of the IRR and served over in Iraq. So besides that, my military background. I'm also the president of the employee resource group for Raytheon Technologies for Rayvets.
Mm-hmm.
And when I'm not doing all that, I'm helping support Carry the Load.
That's awesome. I want to ask you, okay, Ray Vet?
Rayvets, yeah, it was short for Raytheon Veterans, basically what it was. So
Uh-huh.
we're the employee resource group. A lot of folks who transition out of the military, they get out and trying to find a job in the real world, in the corporate world. And like me, I didn't have no way of doing that. I didn't know. I mean, hell, PersCom told me what I was going to do all the time, right?
Yeah.
So having an organization to kind of help folks transition out of the military, work in a career, especially in the defense industry. I mean, we were the customers, right, at one
Yeah.
time. So it's we bring a unique aspect to the defense world, definitely. So, but obviously our passion is for veterans. That's why Carry the Load's another one that obviously very passionate about.
Yeah, I was doing some research and so tell me, I saw the YouTube videos and I was doing some reading. So was this all started to remind people the true meaning of Memorial Day?
Yeah, I mean, the two founders, Clint Bruce and Stephen Holly, 10 years ago. So 10 years ago here in Dallas, Texas, that's where I'm located at right now. Um, they were sitting around thinking about Memorial Day and just, kind of upset, just kind of angry, frustrated. It felt like we as a nation had somehow forgotten Memorial Day was. People are saying, Happy Memorial Day. And on the news, it was all about, mattress sales and barbecues and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And you're two Navy SEALs who lost folks, and they just had a struggling of trying to find a way to make meaning out of the holiday. So they started this thing where they just walked around this lake. It's a 10-mile loop around a lake, White Rock Lake in Dallas, and just to try to bring awareness. And who are these crazy guys walking around with rucks on their back?
Yeah.
Doing a ruck march. I don't know about you, but military ruck march doesn't mean sound like fun, but the intent was just to bring awareness of it. And
Yeah.
man, they sparked off something, and it started off as just a little local thing in Dallas, and now we've got marches going all across the United States. We've got 4 relays that travel from all corners of the United States. I think we go through 43 states now.
Wow.
Definitely have rallies everywhere now, and it just to bring back the meaning Memorial Day. I mean, those of us who've served, who've
Right.
lost people, we all know. I mean, we lost someone, and it's tough, it's rough, and to connect us with the people who don't understand what that is, who don't understand that it's not just a day off of school or a day off of
Barbecue
work.
weekend. Yeah.
It means something, and it's
Definitely.
not supposed to be a day where you're supposed to mourn, but man, take a second to think about what this day is really about. And
Yeah.
I think that's what the mission resonated with me. I wanted to make sure that I stayed involved. So since the last 9 years, I've been involved with them.
So what is your involvement? So is your title ambassador?
Yeah, basically, ambassadors just folks that are actually very passionate about it. I'm not part of the staff or the board, so to speak, but
Mm.
I got involved just because, again, I was passionate about it. Carrie Lowe did end up doing some stuff. They made a movie, actually, a small movie.
But
It's called Connections. You can go out on the
okay.
YouTube there and find it if you want. But it kind of tells a story about connecting folks who don't understand anything about Memorial Day with folks who try to understand what the holiday is about.
Yeah.
So because they kind of selected me to be in that video, I kind of became an ambassador. My wife, she's also an Army vet as well, combat vet, served in Afghanistan.
Nice.
She's also involved with Carry the Load, and and my kids. Heck, my kids don't even know a Memorial Day without Carry the Load because now they just think it's not about let's go to the beach, let's go to the lake house or something like that. Let's do something. Let's go do Carry the Load. Let's go march and let's go honor those folks who have fallen. And I think that's the best part about Carry the Load.
I I just love the mission you guys have. Just to remind everybody what the actual weekend the day represents. And it's to a lot of people, it's like you said, it's a barbecue day. And it's just it yeah. Oh man. Yeah. So y'all's vision from the beginning was just to I know y'all didn't have the vision of the expansion that you guys have had.
No, they didn't. I think the very first event, the funny story is the first event they had 1 week out from executing it, they had 50 members sign up for it, and 48 of them were family members of the two guys who, who started the event. So from that event now, if you were to go down to Reverchon Park in Dallas around Memorial Weekend, you'll see us start the day before on Sunday and go to Monday, and we're up to 5,000 people. And
Wow.
that's just for that 1 day event. And
Yeah.
now we're hitting major cities all the way across the United States. We start off usually in the early part of May, end of April. We start doing these relays. We basically take a flag and we walk it from all the way from Boston and up in Washington State. Now we've got 2 relays that go through the mountain states as well, and just trying to bring awareness. The big giant bus going by, people wondering what the flags are for.
Yeah.
We partner with a lot of organizations, and that's one thing. When Carry the Load first started off, their intent was just to kind of raise enough money just to pay for the refreshments and snacks, that we had
Mm.
for doing the walk. Now they're raising all kinds of money, and they wanted something to do with that money, and now they're investing in these smaller organizations that are helping our military, our first responders, those individuals who are serving us. They serve us, and we should be serving them. For we should be thanking them, for doing what they do. And
100%.
people come up and say thank you for your service, and that's great and all, but um, not enough people do that. Not enough people go out there and really appreciate that there's a lot of folks out there who are away from their families during important days, who don't come home.
Yeah. Yeah.
So connecting those individuals, that's the important thing about
Yes, sir. Another thing that y'all do is I really love is that, you know, y'all educate the youth, on what the American flag and sacrifice and, you know, just in well, educating. Yeah. I like that because a lot of our youth really doesn't understand what what the meaning of everything is.
hard. It's hard. I mean, and I'll maybe age myself here a little bit. I grew up in the old days of learning. I was a scout as well too, so I kind of knew things about the flag. I was in the military. I assumed everybody did the same thing that I did,
Yeah.
and then you come to the realization that not everyone knows that. Not everyone understands that. It's not just a flag. What it represents. It's what my brothers and sisters came home draped in a coffin of that flag. So educating folks, understanding why, at a young age. Like I said, my kids don't know Memorial Day without Carry the Load and what really Memorial Day is about. I think by keeping that going, it's like that generation hopefully will educate the next generation to keep going. And from the grassroots efforts, we kind of take back our country's need to um, appreciate the sacrifice of people who serve.
Yeah. A lot of people forget, man, and it's sad. It's definitely sad. I was reminded yesterday that it's gonna be 20 years. This year's the 9/11 anniversary, 20 years. That's
Crazy to
that's
think about, isn't it? I
that's
mean,
insane.
there are people now who are joining the military who don't know anything but war. I mean, that's all
Right.
their whole life. We've been at war for as long as they've been born. And it's really amazing to think that that was 20 years ago. It's tough. It's
It,
tough.
it definitely is. Like with this organization, Carry the Load, how do you feel like it's made an impact in your life and those around you?
Well, I'll speak personally. For me, it was something I needed. So like I said, I came back from Iraq a few years prior to the first Carry the Load March, and I had a buddy of mine tell me about the Carry the Load March, and I said, what's that all about? But Stephen Holly, he had mentioned something that resonated with me. It's like through physical pain, you get emotional purge.
Right.
And it's about that. It's that pain of going on that ruck march, so to speak, doing something, and it gives you time because you're not focusing on the emotional aspect. You're getting to focus more on the physical thing. So man, and again, I'm not talking to any strangers here for ruck marches. You go on that ruck march, and you're all done. You've been tired. You take that ruck off, you feel 1,000 pounds lighter, don't you? And you
Yes,
feel
sir.
like, let's go run. I'm fine now, man. I just had to get that ruck off my back.
Yep.
Well, for me, it wasn't just that physical weight; it was that emotional weight. Because I had friends I lost. My unit, we lost 2 people just the day we were leaving. We lost folks,
Man.
and and I didn't know how to. I struggled with it. I survivor guilt. Like how come me? How come I came home? I didn't have any kids. I wasn't married. These guys had families and stuff like that. Why me? And I had a really hard time trying to find a way to appreciate that, and carry the load kind of gave me that ability. So I go out there and I full battle rattle. I put the 80 pounds of gear on like that and just walk in it. And it sucks. And it's Texas. I mean, Texas in May, it's like 120 degrees. But through it all, I lose some toenails out of it, got some blisters, but it really is that emotional release. It doesn't make me so angry anymore. I'm not angry at the fact that we've forgotten because I'm surrounded by people who didn't forget. And I get to share stories. I get to tell all these folks who walk around about these names on my pack over there that I'm carrying. I get to tell them, why, when I served with them and what they did and the funny things they did, when they were deployed or when I went to school with them, or one of them was a female cadet that was in my company at the same time, and at the time she was the highest ranking female to die in combat in Afghanistan. And I can tell stories about Jamie and the things that she did. I can tell stories about Josh Byers, a guy I went to school with, and all the fun, crazy things. And for a minute, they're not dead, they're not gone. We're talking about it, we're keeping them alive. And there's that old saying that you die twice: once when you physically die, and once when no one says your name again. My goal, and the goal I think of Carry the Load, is make sure that second part never happens. We're going to talk about them. We're going to show pictures of them on big giant boards, and we're going to make sure everyone knows that these folks, they're important. We should be honoring them, and that's what that day is about.
I've never heard that saying that you said that you die twice. That's amazing. I'm gonna steal that. Yeah.
I think I stole it from someplace, so you're more.
So that's amazing. Just the impact. From your stories and the stories that I've read. Wow, it's it's an organization that has purpose and true meaning and stands for something. There's a lot of organizations. There's just you can't find. They're hard to find, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, they are.
So in May, okay, so with the research I did in May, I noticed that y'all had already raised $1 million.
We're going. We're not there yet. And it was tough last year. We even raised $1 million, even with the whole pandemic going on, because it shut down a lot of our rallies. It shut down a lot of our marches. It shut down our relays. A lot of it was virtual. This year, we were able to have some physical relays and physical outside events that are safe. And we're at $1 million already, and we'll go higher. And the best part about that is all that money is being raised. It's being converted right back. Like 99 point something percent of it is going right back into these organizations. And it's about helping those folks, and a couple organizations, and you probably know most of these too, like 22 Kill and
Yeah.
organizations that help folk with PTSD coming back. Because I know you're passionate about that.
Yes,
well, here we are. We know that the VA, dealing with PTSD, when folks first come back, they had a cookie cutter, one size fits all, and we realized that wasn't the answer. So a lot of these smaller organizations that Heroes in the Water, 22 Kill, are doing things because they're more agile. Because what? Not everybody needs, 8 standard counseling sessions and drugs to get better. Sometimes they need to go fishing. Sometimes they just need to go hang out and go ride their motorcycle with somebody. Sometimes they need to get out in the water and just, be in a boat or something like that. And being able to support those small organizations, that's why I think that the biggest benefit of Carry the Load. That money goes into helping so many different organizations, from adaptive training for folks to come back with injuries, to the fire and police departments that they struggle a little bit. They don't have as big of a day as Memorial Day, obviously. Mm-hmm. So we kind of adopted them because what, they serve us too. They're towing the line every day, even at home. So I think using all that money for being more agile, kind of like special forces. Hey, look, they can kind of precision attack where they need to attack and help those individuals that really need it. And that's why I think it's great, the money that we're raising.
So how do people, if people wanted to donate, how would they go about that?
It's carrytheload.org. You can go on there, big giant banners and pictures on there showing you how to donate. So if you just want to, donate money, and that's great. Donating the money is great. Join a team and raise funds. A lot of organizations do that. You see the MS Society and a lot of different places do that where you make a team and you raise funds for it. But what I tell people all the time is don't let the money stand in the way. Just get out and participate. Just go do something. Just be involved. And I'm biased to the Memorial March that we have here in Dallas, but even in Houston, Texas, or in Florida or in California, we have events that go on if we can. And if you don't, go do something yourself. Go visit that. I mean, every major city's got a veterans, memorial cemetery. Sometimes, maybe somebody at the VFW or something like that. Or you know what? Take a minute while you're at your barbecue in the backyard. The kids are playing in the pool and raise that beverage of choice and just take one out. Take 1 second to remember, hey, this is for them. And that's why we have this day.
Every Memorial weekend, we get together on that Saturday with the local VFW, and we go to the cemetery out here and place thousands of flags out here for every veteran who's passed. And last year, I took my little girl, and you know, I was like, this year we're gonna go, and she's like, yes, I want to go. And, it
Awesome. That's great. That's you're doing exactly what Carry the Load's doing, and you're doing it because it's meaningful. Because you know what, with that one person, with your daughter, and I know she's proud of her daddy.
yes,
I
sir.
know she knows about the military. You don't gotta educate her, but for her, she's gonna go tell her friends. You know what? And I don't know about you, but we tend to be surrounded by folks who don't know anything about the military. I'm the token veteran, in my neighborhood. Even when I work for a defense contractor like Raytheon, I look around and I don't have that connection sometimes with the folks who serve. But now your daughter, she's going to talk about my kids. My kids are going to go out and they know, like, what are you doing for Memorial Day? Oh, we're going to the beach. I mean, you don't do nothing for Memorial Day, and they're like, well, we go to the cemetery, or we raise a flag, or we participate in some kind of event that's meaningful. Now your daughter's going to remember that, and that's great. I'm glad you're doing that.
So if people wanted to get involved, how would they go about that? You said so the big one is in Dallas.
Big ones in Dallas, but it's all year long. We don't do events all. We do events all year. We do it for Patriots Day. We also do it for Veterans Day as well. They have rallies all over the place. But the best bet is to go to carrytheload.org. What they'll do is they'll have a whole banner on top that goes to show you where the events are at, and you can reach out and participate if you want to at a local event, or if you're interested in making an event. I mean, maybe you have the local VFW and American Legion to get together and do a flag football team like that. Hey, you want to use that as an opportunity to raise funds for something, that would be great. But just getting involved with an organization that really truly cares. I mean, like you said, it's hard to find those organizations that really care. And having the strength of all these nonprofit organizations that we support, to kind of carry the load up. But it's not just carry the load they're propping up; they're propping the ideals and the missions of it, which is, hey, Memorial Day's got a reason. Let's not forget that.
Sir. I so okay, so the best way to find you would be carrytheload.org.
Carrytheload.org. That's the easiest way to go find it. Yeah.
Now,
And if you want to, I said you can also go on. If you don't want to go through the website and see it all, go just YouTube it. Go YouTube Carry the Load. There's some pretty powerful videos out there. Little 2-minute, 3-minute videos.
I saw
If you got
some.
half an hour to spend, I'll shamelessly promote the film they made of me called Connections. But it tells my story a little bit, one part of it. I've got 5 names in my pack, and each one has a different story to it. So if you're interested in going out there and taking a look, this year they're going to release the second part of the story. So that'll be. I haven't even seen it yet, so we'll see what happens.
When I release this, I'm gonna drop a link in below. Real quick, who are you carrying?
So I'm carrying my brothers and sisters who fall in combat and who didn't get to go home. By name, I'll tell you one: Josh Byers, Captain Josh Byers, Colonel Stephen Scott, Major Stuart Wolford, Private First Class Cody Board, and Lieutenant Colonel Jamie Leonard. And those are the individuals that I served with or who I knew who has fallen combat. But I carry the load for all those folks who didn't get to go home. and I did. So I will be forever in their debt, and we as a nation should forever be in their debt.
Yes, sir. Excuse me. Is there anything else you? I'm sorry. Is it? Is there anything else you would like to push or promote or say, sir?
I want to say thank you for giving us the opportunity to talk. I mean, even people like you don't have 10,000 viewers. We're not going to go for you. No, it's small. It's not meant to be. It's connecting with folks like you all who I know what you're passionate about already, and I think your audience is passionate about it as well. I think connecting with those individuals and just like just on the professional side, when I tell my folks about networking, so to speak, you may have never heard carry load, but now these folks will hear about it. So when it
Yes,
comes
sir.
up, they can talk about it and they can say, hey, I went and looked at that page, or I saw that video, or I watched that movie. And they can start spreading the word. And it's almost like a no brainer. I mean, it really is a no brainer. It's like, what, we don't celebrate Veterans or Memorial Day? What? Why don't we? And I think it opened a lot of eyes to people that I've touched, obviously. And I think it's a great mission that you don't have to be a veteran. You don't have to be a police officer, a fireman, or first responder to appreciate the things that those individuals do. And so I think everyone, regardless of your serving or not, we can benefit from this.
Yes, sir. I agree 100%. Again, this is Glenn. I want to thank you for being on the show. That's carrytheload.org. Glenn, I appreciate you, man.
Thank you all. Hey, I appreciate you too.
Everybody else, Charlie, Mike,